3 tips for overcoming rumination. Welcome to the Creative Empath Meditation Series. I'm Hannah Rodriguez. Let's begin with a simple grounding and breathing exercise. So sitting in a cross-legged position, either in a chair or on the ground, feeling the ground holding you, feeling your hip bones pressing into the earth. Then draw the belly button in, sitting nice and tall so that your shoulders are over pelvis and the crown of the head is directly over the center of the cervical spine. We'll begin by taking 3 deep belly breaths, rolling the shoulders up and back, breathing in. Exhale, draw the navel into the spine, all the way out. Inhale, loosen the jaw. Exhale all the way out. Inhale, full belly deep breath. Exhale, relax. Just notice how you feel after those deep breaths. Continue this deep breathing pattern as we go through our 3 tips for rumination. Tip number 1 is give yourself a worry timer. So once a day, maybe in the evening or in the morning, give yourself 20 to 30 minutes, set a timer, and let yourself fully experience your ruminations. Maybe you journal about it, or maybe you talk to someone about it, or maybe you just sit and think about the things that are on your mind and let yourself fully feel the emotion and the experience of ruminating about what's going on or what happened to you. Let yourself be fully in that moment and let yourself fully feel everything that you feel. And then when that timer goes off and your 20 or 30 minutes is up, stop ruminating. This can be hard to do, so here are some other tips that can help you with the stopping. So finding a distraction is tip number 2. So finding a distraction where you can get fully into the flow of something that changes your thoughts. Some people might watch a TV show. Other people might get into some type of project. So maybe a home renovation project or an art project. Or maybe you need to leave the house and go to the gym or go meet a friend for coffee or go to the library and pick out a new book. Whatever it is that you need, if you need to change the scenery and get out of the house to distract yourself and get yourself fully present with something else, figure out what that might be for you and let yourself do that thing, whatever it is. And number 3 is create a plan for your healing and recovery. So what that might mean is maybe you focus on setting up doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, setting up a therapist, or setting up a medication management appointment so that you can get medication. Those are some options. And then setting up a plan for your well-being. So making sure that you are eating healthy, planning your meals, planning your grocery list so that you can have healthy foods, budgeting, and also planning out your exercise and workout. So a lot of this requires planning ahead So take some time, grab a journal, and jot down a couple of things that you need to be doing in order to take care of your well-being. And really spend time focusing on those things that help you be well, help you stay balanced. Now, it's not easy when you are in an anxious state or a hypervigilant state to kind of like force yourself out of that rumination pattern and into these distraction and planning your well-being. It takes a lot of kind of like forcing yourself. It takes a lot of willpower to make these things happen. But the more that you practice getting yourself out of rumination and into your life, the easier it'll become. So it's like when you start out, it's really, really hard. It's like pushing a boulder up a hill for the first time. It's the hardest on the first and second time, but after that you start to build muscle memory, and your mind and body know how to do these things, and it becomes easier to repeat, and it becomes more of a habit, more of a routine, and becomes more ingrained. And it'll become easier to switch yourself out of rumination and into your focusing on building and creating your life. And I do want to take a moment to just say a disclaimer that rumination is really a really difficult experience. It's not easy to break out of that habit. And if you're currently in a situation like where maybe you're in an abusive situation, or maybe you're in a living situation where you don't feel safe or you don't feel like you have security, it can be really hard to not constantly worry about your safety and your security. And I just want to empathize with that. And sometimes you've really got to focus on like making the first priority of getting out of that unsafe environment and getting into something safer, something more secure. And then focusing on your healing once you're in that safe space. But once you are in that safe space, you might find yourself ruminating a lot more because you're going through what I like to call trauma grief. When you've experienced a trauma, our minds work really, really hard trying to understand why. Why did this happen to me? What did I do to deserve this? Could I have stopped it? Could I have done something more or different to change the outcome? What if I had just done X, Y, or Z? Maybe that person would have never left me, or would have never cheated on me, or would have never hurt me. And what, and I like to call that trauma grief, because it's a natural process of, after experiencing trauma, we go through a grief process because we want to understand what happened to us, and we feel sad that this thing happened. And it's also kind of like something has died. A part of us has died, a relationship has died, or a dream or a hope about something that we wanted to experience has died. And so if you are experiencing that, I just want to empathize that that is so, so hard, and that's so difficult to, come out of and, try to live again, try to find balance and healing and hope again. And so it's not as easy as 1, 2, 3. So I just want to preface that and say that even though these tips sound easy enough in a soundbite, using them and putting them into practice can be messy and can be hard, and sometimes the results will vary, and sometimes we can't stop ourselves from the rumination and the worry and the fear. And I just want to say, like, if you're in that boat, if you're in that place where you just can't stop your mind, give yourself some grace and maybe recognize that this is grief. You're experiencing a grief response, and oftentimes that grief response is really intense, especially for the first several months, maybe 6 months or a year. And gradually, as you keep working on building your new life and moving towards, something new, it will lift. The burden will lift. It will get easier. And someday you'll get to a point where you're not thinking about it so much anymore. So in this moment, I'm going to ask you to take one more deep breath, squeeze all the muscles in your body, and then as you breathe out, relax, consciously relax everything. Maybe we repeat that one more time. Breathing in, squeezing all the muscles in your body, even in your face, scrunching up your face. And as you breathe out, relax everything, let it go. Continue that until you find a peacefulness. So you can continue that what I call progressive muscle relaxation until you find a sense of peacefulness, ease, relaxation. And we'll go ahead and seal the practice with the beautiful sound of Om, breathing in. Om. Namaste, my friends.